Hey guys, so I spent many years contemplating making creole bun. It's a sweet bread that we make in our country, Belize, and my aunt used to make the best bun. And since she passed away around 1991, uh, I just never thought that I would ever be able to make it for myself. In my older age, there's nothing to it but to do it. I am going on a learning journey.
Because it's so thick in the can, and then I just measure out what I need. And I'm not using this whole can, I'm only using 1 1/4 cups. Earlier in the video I said you can add more sugar if you want it to be a little bit sweeter, and usually I add raisins to mine, and that makes it a little bit sweeter, so I don't need to add any more sugar. But this time for the video I decided not to add any raisins, and after I was finished I realized it wasn't as sweet as I would like it to be. So if you're not adding any raisins, I think you should add 1 cup of sugar. But if you're adding raisins, do 3/4 cup of sugar.
So I got the recipe for bun from Cooking with Shirani, and I watched that video about at least 10 times and rewound it during the process while I was making it too. That's why I recorded some of the parts that I was focusing on, just to get the steps down right. And in this part, she was explaining that this recipe, it may seem as if it needs more water or more flour, but just trust the process and realize that all you got to do is knead it and continue to knead it until it is completely kneaded through. So that's what I got, and it came out pretty good. This recipe is pretty foolproof. All right, so after you get all the dough done, you get them into even balls. It makes about 8. And then you get to proof them for another 2 hours. The first time it proofed for 2 hours. This time it proofed for another 2 hours. And then you cook it at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. and this was the result. It looked so beautiful and smelled so great. I finally brushed it with melted butter on the top, and it was really delicious. I didn't anticipate that my first time making bun would be so successful, but like I said, this recipe from Cooking with Shirani is pretty foolproof. The measurements are accurate, the cook time is perfect. I always minus my cook time by 2 minutes, but my oven is a little hot, so I try to compensate for the fact that my oven can get a little hot and it cooks very efficiently. So I take off 2 minutes from baking times typically, and this time I was completely right, and my guesstimate of the 2 minutes was completely accurate. These are fully done, and they're light, they're fluffy. When I first tasted them fresh out the oven, it brought back so many memories of my aunt who made bun and bread all the time. We at least had 2 batches a week, and as soon as she made them, they were completely eaten up by all of us. So I am grateful. Thank you, Cooking with Shirani. I wish you nothing but complete prosperity based on your great recipes. And this is just the second recipe I made. I actually have my dukunu recipe that I got from my cousin, but I looked at your steps from Cooking with Shirani to understand, how to do it and what are the steps to doing it. And I thank you again. This is me taking my first bite, and it's like I was a little girl again. If you could only understand what that feels like to have been a little Belizean girl who was being fed by her aunt these Belizean creole buns and being able to share that memory again. Thank you for watching, guys. This one meant so much to me.
Can I have a little bite? Just a tiny little taste, please. You won't even notice it's gone. I'm invisible. You don't see me. I just want a little